What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So yesterday we had a random update announced for the Switch, and then a little later on the application itself released to the platform, and it seems pretty basic from the outside, but this is Nintendo and online, so what are you gonna do? We'll go over that here today. Also, we're gonna be talking about a big game sale that has now gone live, and I'll continue to point these out as we head towards the holidays, as I'm sure many of you are looking to save money, especially on physical games. And we're also going to be talking about Ubisoft running face first into another live service. Guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all of the uploads here on the channel. And we're going to start today with Halo Infinite, specifically though, Halo Infinite's campaign, because that has been a massive question mark for a lot of people. We've played the multiplayer. The multiplayer is good. I'm looking forward to that. But the campaign, that's the big question right now after Halo 5. But we did have some previews go live yesterday, and for the most part, they're pretty much all positive. I would say IGN probably had the best preview, but there were others like Game Informer all showing off gameplay and talking about some of the experiences with the game. But I will say IGN went through section by section, talking a bit about the story, keeping it as spoiler-free as possible, and also talking about some of the objectives and the world itself. I noticed a few things from the video, with one of the biggest being that grappling hook, which I'm pretty excited to use that in the idea of like an open world style Halo game, because it was so much fun to use in the multiplayer, but the multiplayer is pretty hectic, and at times you just don't have the grappling hook for very long. So looking at the campaign, it appears when they were using it, it was a rechargeable equipment piece, and it had a 1, which tells me maybe it's something you upgrade as you go along, and you can have multiple sequential shots from that grappling hook before it needs a recharge. But it looked like the cooldown timer was pretty generous, where maybe a few seconds between each shot. Now, the overall world was described as something that's a bit smaller when you first start, but as you open up different areas and get different vehicles, which you will be getting as you free more and more Marines throughout the world, that kind of builds up this valor, you'll be able to explore more parts of this Halo Zeta ring. So yeah, I'm excited from what I'm hearing, and I mean, a month from now, we'll at least be able to try it out, and I'm crossing my fingers that 343 can pull off the story, especially after what they did with Halo 5. Also, we had some interesting information come out from Nihon Falcom in their latest financial report. Of course, they do different games like Ys or the Legend of Heroes series, but we can see this translated over on Games Talk through Google Translate, so we'll see how it does. Nihon Falcom says, announcing its financial results for the fiscal year ending September 2021. It's been revealed that it will proceed with the in-house development of game software for Nintendo Switch from 2022. The first release is Nayuta no Kiseki, and that would be their Boundless Trails game that I believe is already out in Japan, and it's slated to come to the West in the next year or two. But the biggest thing here is Falcom obviously is realizing, okay, in Japan, it's like basically all Switch. Like, if you really look at the breakdown of the different systems with the PS5 and the Xbox Series, I guess, coming in, yeah, you're gonna wanna develop for a system that's like 20 million, systems there, as opposed to ones that are just getting started the generation, even the PS5 just crossing 1 million units. They've pretty much been tied to PlayStation completely, just about. And that, of course, was better when they had a Vita or a PSP to release on alongside of the PS4. Things are a bit different now, so they appear to have shifted internally and are looking to develop more in-house now for the Switch. It's probably just a bit harder because they're not a massive company, so to them, this might have been a bit of a risk, but they don't have much of a choice now, so we'll see how things go now that they're starting in-house development in 2022 for the Switch. Oh, and we did get a release date for the Gunk, which is a game I kind of forgot about. It's from the creators of SteamWorld, and we also had a trailer released during that Thunderful presentation, but it is coming out December 16th, and this game will be going into Game Pass immediately, which is great because this is a game that some people might pass over if they were looking to like having to buy it, but if you're a Game Pass subscriber, it going into Game Pass means you might just take a chance one night and try it out. I'll certainly be downloading it off of Game Pass here, and it looks unique enough, and from what I can tell, the concept going to different planets, exploring, they mentioned trying to make money and I guess sucking up a bunch of gunk. I mean, sure, why not? I'll give it a shot. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the Nintendo Switch, and I mean, just a random update yesterday with an announcement that Twitch is now on the Switch. Just, again, randomly. Did not see that one coming at all. A lot of people have been asking for different streaming platforms. They've been very slowly added as we've gone along. I think the big one people are still asking for now is Netflix, and based on what we saw here with Twitch, it can just happen at any time. It was kind of the same with YouTube now that I think about it when that was dropped on the Switch. But either way, you can see the page for the application here. It's a free download. It's about 31 megabytes. And from what I can tell, I mean, it's set up well enough. The performance is good. The biggest thing here, though, I saw some people wonder, oh, does that mean we can now stream to Twitch from our Switch? No, not yet. I mean, if ever, I feel like that might be something Nintendo looks into next generation, if at all. We're talking about just getting voice chat on the Switch. Now you want to be able to stream from the system here. And it's really funny to look at the reaction when this happens, right? Because remember with YouTube, it was a really big deal. With Twitch, really big deal. Hulu even. And it's not necessarily something that should be a big deal, but because we've seen the Switch really be featureless at launch and slowly get these applications on board, and I'm not really sure why it's taking so long. I mean, we're about to finish up the 5th year of the Switch in March, and Twitch just now shows up. I mean, I know Nintendo said they're halfway through the generation for the Switch, so maybe Twitch gets a good 4 or 5 years out of the platform here. I hope that they are accruing these on this platform so that when we get to next generation, whatever they come out with, that these applications are just there immediately. Like there's no, okay, cool, we're new generation, the Switch. It's gonna be missing a bunch of stuff and we'll add it on again later on. And hey, look forward to 5 years in and Twitch will be there, then YouTube. It would be much better if they just launched with all this stuff and hey, next gen, Switch, maybe one of the launch titles is just Netflix. Next up, let's talk about a big game sale that is now live, and this is a place where people tend to kind of miss. They just don't really think of Gamefly when it comes to buying games, but I saw this sale pop up, and I gotta say, I'm kind of impressed based on how many titles and some of the pricing. We can see this over on their website. This is the pre-play blowout. Now, they have free shipping, games are 100% guaranteed, some of the original codes, I guess, unless it's otherwise noted, but they also mentioned that new case and inserts are included. Now, they will have notes underneath of these games if it's just the disc, but I realized something. I said, well, if they loan these games out, because obviously you're gonna get games that have been passed around, I guess they don't send the case out, so as soon as they open up the shrink wrap, the cases themselves are just kind of stored away with any manuals that you might get. I mean, most of these don't have them anyway. However, that means that the presentation of these games should be pretty good, at least for the casing, and if it's all guaranteed, I mean, that's not bad, especially when you start looking at the pricing here. I'm looking at this more towards like saving money for the holidays if you're buying gifts for people, as long as they don't mind that it's, I guess, been open. But if you look, they have different categories for the PlayStation 4, and you can see several titles on sale here. Moving down, they also have the PS5, and this is one that surprised me a bit because they have like Deathloop at $40 with free shipping. They have Death Stranding Director's Cut at $35. If you go down a bit further, we have Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. They have MLB The Show 21 at $25. Hot Wheels Unleashed at $30. I also noticed the Medium is there at $28, and they do technically have the new Madden, although that one's $50. In fact, out of most of these titles, somehow it's the numbered sports game that is like the worst deal. Moving down, they have the Switch, and again, pretty good deals here for the Switch. Metroid Dread being $50. I mean, it's a newer title, so what are you gonna do with that, Nintendo? But like Mario Golf at $35, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword at $35, Sonic Colors at $20. It had some issues, but I mean, $20 isn't bad for that. Bravely Default 2 is kind of buried down here, but that one at $35 is pretty good, as well as new Pokemon Snap. In fact, I was noticing several first-party Nintendo games here on sale. And then of course we have the Xbox Series and Xbox One. Scarlet Nexus at $20. That might be one of the best deals on the list that they have here. I did also see that Cyberpunk is $14.99. Not the greatest deal there. We've seen it under $10 already. Outriders at $15. Hitman 3 at $18. That's pretty good there. Watch Dogs Legion at $13. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which has been getting actually quite a few updates, at $18. Then Biomutant at $19. And Jedi Fallen Order at $10. So take a look at this sale, go through it, see what you think, and of course, leave some recommendations down below in the comments for what you think looks pretty good here at the prices. Next up, let's talk about the Famitsu sales charts from this past week in Japan. There's one game on here that I was kind of curious about, and it might sound weird for the Japan sales charts, but that's Call of Duty. And for some reason, I just feel like Vanguard is just not as exciting this year as maybe last year for Call of Duty. But let's take a look at the top 10 here for the Famitsu sales charts. We have Mario Party Superstars, that still holding on to the number 1 position at 81,399. Then we have Call of Duty Vanguard, this being on the PS4, 28,321. Then we have Danganronpa, that 20,938. Ring Fit Adventure, 13,101. Then Call of Duty Vanguard, this one on the PlayStation 5, 12,754. And we have a Fortnite Legends pack at 12,167. Super Robot Wars 30, 12,079. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater. Now, this does mean that Call of Duty Vanguard has sold just over 41,000 copies in its opening week, which compared to last year in Japan, we had just over 84,000 that sold. So we're seeing a bit of a drop off here in Japan. And I know, once again, I'm sure Call of Duty isn't the biggest in Japan compared to how it is, say, in the MPDs in the US. But, I mean, it still has a bit of a drop-off here year to year. So it's something to keep an eye on here with Call of Duty Vanguard, just because I don't see as many people talking about this game as I have in previous years. Move over to the hardware, 45,880 Switch systems sold. And moving down from there, the Switch Lite at 23,000. And they have the Switch OLED at 21,620. The PlayStation 5, 8,520. Then the digital edition at 1,600. The Series S at 1,570, and the Series X at just over 1,000. I have noticed, once again, the Series S just continues to sell better and better overall than the Series X, especially in the last, I'd say, half of this year so far. And we have the PlayStation 4 at 709, and then somehow people are still finding Nintendo 2DS LLs in the back of these stores, 433 of those sold. So overall, pretty good second week for Mario Party. Like I said, Call of Duty is the one that I was just curious about, since we have actual numbers here as opposed to other parts of the world where we don't get any numbers at all. So something to keep an eye on with this game though, Call of Duty, if it falls completely off the charts, because even last year, it debuted over 84,000 copies, but it was off the charts in like 2 weeks. It was gone quick. So we'll see how Call of Duty does in the MPD reports next month when we get that for this current month that it launched in. Just doesn't seem as strong overall from what I'm at least seeing online. It seems like more people are excited, more so for Battlefield, but definitely more for Halo Infinite. Let me know if that's something you're seeing online as well. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Ubisoft taking one of their storied franchises now and once again, moving it to a live service. This has been their strategy for a bit now. We've heard rumors around Assassin's Creed and then eventually have that be confirmed that that's just going to be an ongoing live service. And it looks like the same thing is happening to Far Cry. We can see this posted up by Jeff Grubb over on VentureBeat saying Far Cry creative director Dan Hay is leaving Ubisoft. Now, Dan Hay has actually been there for a while, came in and oversaw the creation of Far Cry 3 and then really every other Far Cry since then. However, his last day is today, November 12th at the company. They even released an entire press release and statement saying after more than 10 years at Ubisoft, Dan Hay has announced that he will be pursuing a new chapter in his professional life and he'll be leaving on November 12th. But of course at Ubisoft, the show must go on, and it looks like the show is going to be turning into a live service Far Cry game. This once again from Jeff Grubb at GamesBeat, saying up until this departure, he's working on the next entry in the series, which Ubisoft intends to launch as its live service Far Cry, similar to the upcoming Assassin's Creed Infinity. So there we have it, another series, another franchise at Ubisoft just going to be going this ongoing live service. I mean, if you've played Far Cry recently, like I finished up Far Cry 6, you get to the end of the game, and they try to basically turn it into a live service. They just give you stuff constantly, different updates, and yeah, it's just clearing bases. You have a different boss that shows up, you beat them, and then you get different things. And they're like, check back in 48 hours for something else to do, and that sounds like what we're probably going to get here, just maybe on a wider scale. It's just, Ubisoft, everything's moving to live service, and the thing that just amazes me is they think people have this kind of time to be playing games constantly. Like, I like the idea of having an ending to Far Cry so that I can step away because, yeah, it does become mind-numbing after a while. That Ubisoft fatigue does set in. I cleared so many bases in Far Cry 6 that it started to kind of blend together, but I like to go through the different Far Cry games as they come out because I mean, I've been playing Far Cry since it first released, so it almost became tradition there for a bit. However, even I can see the writing on the wall and what they've been trying to turn it into. And I guess now with Dan Hay leaving the picture, they can kind of navigate it the way they want it to be, which, yeah, maybe a 10-year Far Cry series where Far Cry Infinity or something, at least drop the number, I guess, and we'll see what they do with it. I'm not really sure when they're going to come out with something like this since Far Cry 6 just released, maybe a couple of years from now, and we'll find out what the future of Far Cry is, but like I said, certainly not the reboot I was hoping for. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking a little poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, do you use your Switch to watch videos on apps like YouTube, Hulu, or now Twitch? I mean, 79% of people say no, 21% say yes, and yeah, I feel like a lot of people watch Netflix or YouTube or Twitch and that stuff on something other than their Switch because, yeah, the Switch is the perfect device to have next to something like a computer or a TV. When you're watching something, you have your Switch, you can be playing it. It's more convenience factor, I would say. That one time, okay, yeah, I do want to be able to watch YouTube on my Switch or watch Twitch or Netflix or whatever. If it comes up, it's nice that it's there. I don't think like the Switch is dependent on something like Netflix being available on the system. Obviously, it's about to cross 100 million Switch systems. Without it, it's just nice to have. It's added value for what shouldn't be a difficult thing to accomplish for Nintendo and Netflix. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Simon saying, what's funnier is that in the Reddit hacking community, they unlocked Shining Pearl by simply changing one line of code in the dumped ROM. No confirmation about the content, but that's saying something like you could actually choose to play between the two versions when you start the game, but capitalism says you could only play one version per purchase. I mean, I think most of us understand why there's two versions so they can sell, twice as many copies in their mind. They can sell you 2 copies instead of 1. I mean, I feel like originally when they were doing it, it made sense, right? Because they were also trying to sell link cable, and if your friend got red and you got blue, you would be more interested in trading Pokemon back and forth than if you both had the same exact version. And that's also why they did things like lock certain evolutions behind trading, because they wanted to sell you a link cable and have you tell your friends about the game and they tell their friends. Then it did help to spread the word of Pokemon, I guess we'll say. But now I just feel like the idea of multiple versions of what's essentially the same game has kind of run its course. It doesn't work as well when it's so easy to connect these games through the internet now. So maybe that's something they leave behind. It seems like it still works. So in their mind, why fix something that's not broken? But noticing that Arceus just has one version, so who knows? We'll see where we are with the next big release, but something tells me we're gonna have 2 different versions once again. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, it really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. There's Twitch being added to the Switch. Let me know if you downloaded it and tried it out, and do you use any of your game systems, whether it's your PlayStation, your Xbox, or your Switch, to watch any of these different streaming platforms? And then also, what about Call of Duty Vanguard? Does it feel kind of like a down year for Call of Duty, or am I just missing something? Thanks guys for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time for Newswave.